Hey, happy day. And the governor said we will put you in jail if you don't get vaccinated for COVID, and we will release you from jail because of COVID. Kind of makes sense in a kind of a liberal way. The good news is you can't understand it. Gun control in Chicago, they got gun control. They have more gun control there than most places, if not all places. For the month of August, there were 78 murders and 372 shootings. And these weren't good guys. These are bad guys doing bad stuff. Oh, gun control, it's just stupid. Every time you hear about people trying to implement their little gun control stuff. I mean, mental health, I guess they'll never get over it. I don't know. Law enforcement now is warning of a very scary new kidnapping scheme that's going on. You know, somebody goes into Walmart, particularly a woman, or in particular a woman. So if your wife or daughter goes into Walmart, be cautious, because what happens, they have a spotter inside the store and they see the person with no man and no bodyguard, call it, and they call their buddies on their phone, send them a text, I guess, and they're in the parking lot, and when the woman goes out to her car and opens the trunk, they come up and they grab her and throw her in the van and they speed off, right? And that's not good. So what is she going to do? Well, firstly, she has to be aware, very aware of her surroundings, but secondly, she should have a gun in her purse and then quickly put it in her hand. I mean, be observant and boomity-boomity-boom, goodbye, bad guys. Just saying, hey, I gotta believe that there are more Republicans in California than Democrats. I know I get a lot of pushback from many people when I say that, but I know a lot of people in California. I mean, I'm in LA, I'm in San Diego, I'm all over the place. Southern California mostly, but I go up north as well, and it's the same. You know what? The Democrats are crazy, but they control, those crazy people control the press for the most part, and they control public opinion polls, and they're always trying to influence people's behavior, and they're dishonest. It's not who votes that counts, it's who counts the votes. That counts more, right? And ballots now have been mailed out to almost 22 million registered people. I wonder what's going to happen. That actually happened in the middle of last month. What's going to happen is coming up, like as in a day or two or three or four. It's kind of wild stuff, and it's right around the corner. And oh boy, I hope that Democrat doesn't get in again. We need good people, and Shetland Pony would be a better person than the governor that we have at present. Speaking of bad governors, you got one here in Oregon, Kate Brown. She's a wild piece of work, this girl. Almost said this broad, but that wouldn't be nice talk. We'll stick with girl. She signed a bill that high school students do not have to prove that they can read, write, or even do arithmetic before they graduate. Senate Bill 744 was passed in June and signed into law just last month. Can you buy into this stuff? Can you even believe it? I mean, I got a headache. I mean, this is just incredible stuff. Supporters of that bill, they say this: existing skills were an unfair challenge to students who did not test well. So we have people who aren't testing well, so we're going to change the rules, right? They can't get across the finish line, so we're going to move the finish line. We're going to bring it back to them. I mean, okay, you're going to have a nation full of idiots. What are you doing? I mean, these people... oh boy, I would like to say, I can't say this on a public airwave, I would like to say that a lot of these people's parents are in favor of abortion. I wish then it would have been legal, but I won't say that because that would be a nasty thing to say. Canada and California, their gun laws are very similar, very similar. It's astounding, really, when you look at them both. And I wanted to give you a couple of quotes about what's going on in Canada, California, because this could be coming to you. Hey, mandatory gun buyback program. It's always interesting because the government say we're going to buy back guns. Well, they never owned them in the first place. How do you buy back something that wasn't yours, right? But this is going on in Canada. The government there is a liberal government. They're commie by nature. And there's a gun group up there similar to the NRA and the CRPA in California. And it's called the CSSA. A whole bunch of alphabet stuff, better than that other alphabet stuff that we often hear about with all the L's and B, whatever it is. Anyway, the CSSA is the Canadian Shooting Sports Association. And the boss man there, the executive director of the Canadian Sports Shooting Association, is Tony Bernardo. I know Tony well. He's a good friend. And he gets a lot of traction with regards to gun laws in Canada. And again, this could be coming to a state near you. And he says the amount of money that you pay to legally owned property is dwarfed by the staffing and infrastructure costs. You're well into many, many, many billions of dollars. This is absolutely the most preposterous thing I've ever heard of. And the cost of this is unbelievable. And you proposed a voluntary buyback program, and then you switch to a mandatory program. The community of gun owners that are lawful, people who are not criminals, are not homicidal maniacs, And otherwise, you wouldn't have guns in the first place because you have to pass background tests and have licenses in Canada to actually get a gun, right? And the people who are committing the acts of violence with firearms are gangs and other bad people. Why don't you go after them? It's an old story, and I get it. But it's nice to know that there's other people still fighting for the cause, because dumb is forever. You can't get through to these politicians. I mean, they just... Oh boy, dumb as sticks, sharp as marbles in California, and all of you other people in all of the states that you're in know that there's people fighting for gun rights in lots of places aside from where you live. A professor at a university in Pennsylvania said this: white people should commit suicide as an ethical act. Professor Derek Hook, I guess. Really? And this is in print, huh? YouTube and Google, where are you? I thought you censored people like that do things that you don't like. Oh, I get censored. A lot of us right-wing guys get censored, and here's some quackhead doing this. Maybe they're going to use a gun to do it. If you're a white folk and you should commit suicide, what do they want us to use? A knife? Maybe. And then she goes on, or he goes on to say, in South Africa, the only way for white people to become part of Africa is to not exist as white people. And the goal is to dismantle white supremacy. White supremacy hasn't really worked out too well for me. How's it doing with you? Quarantine. The last thing I got, this is from your wiser advisor. Quarantine is when you restrict the movement of sick people. Tyranny is when you restrict the movement of healthy people. Wise stuff. Hey, y'all come back. See ya.